So this is just a quick update. I'm on this beautiful island right now in Thailand, and I know there's a lot of people that aren't able to do things like this because they don't necessarily have any location freedom or time freedom. Maybe they could accumulate some finances to come to a place like this, but for how long? And even being at a resort like this is a 5-star resort, and the thing I think about is how many families, how many people come here and they can stay for a week, 2 weeks, and that's great. Maybe they don't want to stay here for a long time. I'm not even going to be here for that long. I'm only here for a month, and I already have my next place booked, which will also be here in Thailand. But I'm basically doing like this whole entire tour across the world to find my forever home, right? Basically looking for where I want to purchase property and things like that, which I already have an idea of where I want to do it, but I know there's so many more places around the world that I wanted to check out and see. Hence, that's what I'm doing right now. And the great thing about coming to places like this, I'm able to enjoy it, but I'm still able to, work on things. I'm still able to figure out what my next step in my career is and what I want to do moving forward. The good thing is a lot of the plays that I've made over the last decade of being in business, a lot of the things that I've done have been hard, basically in the trenches. And sometimes you have to do those things in order for you to reap the rewards that are going to come after that, right? Some people are not willing to do that. So luckily the investments that I've made are allowing me to travel and live a life like this while I'm still trying to figure out my next move. And I have several ideas. One of those things being, of course, building a personal brand. That's the one thing that I wish I did more of. And I always started and stopped. I didn't necessarily keep it going like I should have. I started 8 years ago on my YouTube channel and did a few videos, and I stopped because of work. I had to do other things. I had to produce, especially when times were low, I had to produce. So I went and stopped those things when I should have just kept it going and just documented everything. Then another 5-6 years ago, I did it again, and I should have documented that as well. I did several videos, and this time I had a videographer and an editor. I had all those things, and I would say that, our edits at the time were basically the same way a lot of people are editing now. So I would say it's probably slightly better now, for some people that I've seen, some channels that I've seen, but at least for myself, I know that 5-6 years ago, the edits are pretty comparable. So we were pretty much ahead of our time, but I also stopped that. Now I'm fully focused on building this brand while I'm still making investment plays, while I'm still growing my portfolios and working on creating new info products, new digital products, things that are gonna bring value for people, because I know that within the info product space, I wouldn't say there's scams, but there's just a lot of shit, right? There's just a lot of shit products. Hence why this word scam is just loosely thrown around. I seldom think that there's very little scams that are out there. It's just that people create shit products and that's about it, right? So I've had plenty of opportunities in my decade of being in this entrepreneur career to basically go ahead and make a crypto pump and dump and do a scam like a lot of other people are doing, and I just never did it. I wanted to go ahead and do it the right way, play with integrity, which I know a lot of people have thrown that out the window. Fine, to each their own. They wanted to go ahead and do that, and that's cool, and maybe they're living perfectly fine now and their conscience isn't necessarily haunting them, but I know that it's not what I wanted to do. So while I'm out here, luckily, plays that I've made are allowing me to go ahead, live like this, enjoy life, while I'm building my personal brand and figuring out what is going to be valuable for you. What's my next product that I'm going to come out with that can provide you value, so that way you can go and create experiences like this, so that way you can go and create income online and have multiple sources of income. Things that are not the traditional way, and sooner than later this will be called the traditional way, I would say, making money online. Now the other thing that I've been working on is something that I started basically a decade ago when I first started within entrepreneurship, and that's programming. Programming myself with the correct data and making sure that I'm aligned with the things that I want and I'm attracting the things that I want into my life. And I feel like a lot of people that I know today that have also been in business for a decade plus started off the same way, programming their mind to be in this game for the long term and think the correct way. And somewhere along the line, a lot of people started to find this idea of programming and affirmations and attracting as cliche, or I don't know, maybe what's the word, cringe, cheesy, I don't know. somewhere along the way, people started to find it that. And one of the things that I realized was that when I first started programming my mind, I know that media outlets, news outlets, all it ever talked about was the negatives, right? And we would avoid those things. We don't want anything that's negative to enter into our minds. Now, I feel like it slowly has crept into a lot of people's minds. YouTube, social media, the way people get attention nowadays is through some form of negativity, which I get it. It's a strategy, right? But that's all still programming us in some way, shape, or form. And people are drawn towards that, which I don't know, could be good or bad. I don't know the answer to it, but I do know that if a decade ago I worked on programming myself to think the right way, I don't think that it would be a bad thing to start doing that again. And that's the thing that I'm basically working on right now, reprogramming myself for the next decade. So I know that there will be several videos that come out on this channel talking about that specific topic, programming, rewiring your mind to think the correct way, how to attract things into your life, because I do think there's some level of unknowingness that's out there, but at the same time it is knowingness. And the unknowingness piece that I'm talking about, there's this thing where if you do think it and you believe it, you can have it. And that is also the knowingness factor of it as well. Like, that piece of information. If you can think it and you believe it, you can achieve it. So there's like a weird knowingness factor that comes with that. Like, how does that even work? But it works. By having the understanding that it works, and it all starts within here, then I think that whether you know how it works doesn't necessarily matter. It's all the other things that come after it, the action piece and things like that. So I'm not saying just think and grow rich. I am saying think, reprogram, rewire correctly, to think properly, and then go and take action. And I think that is a thing that a lot of us entrepreneurs have forgotten. And if you're brand new to the game, maybe you haven't come across something like that before, where you have to think positively, write down your affirmations, have the self-image of who you want to be 10 years, 20 years from now. Like, who are you? And who are you supposed to be, and start being that person today. I think that's like something that has been lost over the last decade for whatever reason, and less people talk about it, because again, people might think it's cringe or cliche, but I think there's a lot of power behind it. I think that myself and a lot of other entrepreneurs that are doing millions of dollars that have been in the space for a decade plus also started the exact same way. Positive thinking, positive affirmations, having the correct self-image of themselves. So that is what I'm doing out here. And again, luckily I'm able to enjoy myself for a while out here and keep moving to different locations. I'm probably gonna be traveling for the next year, 2 years. Just moving around, not going to be stopping, and I want to keep providing more and more value to you guys. So again, there will be different things on this channel that I talk about, whether it's personal growth, whether it's investments, whether it's entrepreneurship, different ways to make money online. I want to go ahead and provide as much value that I can, all while I'm working on my next product for you guys. That's something that's going to actually give you tools to success. If you're just starting off on your journey, or if you've been doing this for a while, just remember this. Just keep going. You're closer than you think.